And speaking of sailing vessels, in 1493, remember 1492? In 1493, just suppose that no one believed Columbus. It's 1493, and we look in upon Columbus, fresh from the New World, in an audience with Queen Isabella.
So, Captain Columbus, did you find the spice lands of India?
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
No, but I found a new land, filled with a strange and different people I call Indios, or Indians, who grow a wonderful golden food called corn.
A new land? Indians? Corn? What are you smoking?
Your Majesty. Had that been the original exchange, would it have made the Americas any less real? If no one believed Columbus, would this land not exist? I believe that Dr. Eben Alexander is a contemporary Christopher Columbus, for he discovered a new world. Only his journey, his distant journey, was to a land, a place that we call, many call, the afterlife. I want to give you a brief summation of what we shared last Sunday for those who were here, and especially for those of you who weren't. Dr. Alexander was a long-time neurosurgeon, a very pragmatic man, a man of science who paid attention to the facts before him. And now, airy-fairy speculation. His words. He contracted severe bacterial meningitis. It shut down all of his higher level brain functioning, all of it. He had a 97% mortality rate in his condition. And if he did survive, no one expected that he would have a usable brain. He was in the deepest possible coma for 6 days. And on the 7th day, he woke up. And his first words were, "All is well." Anybody remember the last words of the prayer for protection? All is well. I'll speak with you after the service. There are a few other things that I want you to know or recall about Dr. Alexander. He was married, had 2 children. He was adopted as a baby. And a year prior to going into the coma, he met his birth parents for the first time. And he found that he had two biological sisters. One whom he met, and another whom he never did get to meet, because she had died 10 years earlier. Now, while he was in this coma, he was in a new world. And it was made up of 3 parts. The first part was a very dark, muddy place though he could see through it. He could see through it. It didn't feel comfortable, and at the same time he was all right. And desiring not to want to remain in this place, as soon as he had that desire that I want to be someplace else, he was drawn through a bright portal into a vastly new world. It was a beautiful world. It was earth, but not earth. There were beautiful clouds, the deepest blue sky, mountains and trees and rivers and streams, men, women, and children. He talks about dogs. I'm intuiting cats as well. Just saying. Earth, but not earth. So everything glowed with living warmth. And he realized that he was not alone here. There was one person with him, because he was flying above all of this, taking it all in. And the person he was with was a beautiful girl. She had lovely high cheekbones, deep blue eyes, golden brown hair. And he could only describe how they were moving as if they were riding together on the wing of a butterfly. He's using these words metaphorically because there's no other way that he can describe his experience. That was his experience. And then he found that there was one other realm into which he was moved. At times, he found himself in an infinite void. And it was at the same time, simultaneously, pitch black and filled with light. I asked last Sunday, have any of you had that experience in meditation? I know you have. I know you have. Deep in meditation, pitch black and infinite light at the same time. And he knew that this void was God, was creator, was source. And he felt as if he was being born, not reborn, simply born. And as he felt this, he was not aware of having a body. He had no memories at this time of his earthly experience. He didn't remember his wife, his sons, his medical practice, nothing. But he had an awareness, a pure awareness, as if he was being born. He writes, "My situation, strangely enough, was something akin to that of a fetus in a womb. The fetus floats in the womb with the silent partner of the placenta, which nourishes it and mediates its relationship to the everywhere present, yet at the same time invisible mother." What a magnificent metaphor. Can you see and feel that? Can you be that fetus in the womb, being nourished and cared for by a divine mother whom you cannot see, but is all around you? In this case, the mother was God, the creator, the source, who is responsible for making the universe and all in it. This being was so close that there seemed to be no distance at all between God and myself. Yet at the same time, I could sense the infinite vastness of the Creator, could see how completely minuscule I was by comparison. And then he says, "I will occasionally use Om as the pronoun for God." Can we all Om together for a moment? says, Om was the sound I remembered hearing associated with the omniscient, omnipotent, and unconditionally loving God. It was the sound the neurosurgeon, the man of science, remembered when he was in the infinite void as that associated with God. Om is a mystical Sanskrit sound that has been chanted for well over 6,000 years. It's made up of 3 parts. You can hear Om chanted in 2 ways. You can hear it Om, and you can hear it Aum. If you ever listen to Buddhist monks chanting it, you'll hear Aum. It's made of A, U, U, and M. A is for akara. U is for ukara. And ma is for makara. I want you to know what these mean, these 3 parts of Om. And why is Om significant? It is said that Om was the original sound in the universe at the very moment of creation. Akara, means that which has shape, form. Trees, plants, animals, you and me. Anything, any object that has form. Akara. Ukara is that which exists but has no form, no set shape. Water, air, fire. And makara is that which has no shape or shapelessness, and yet exists. It is consciousness itself. Makara. The sound that Hindus and Buddhists and Jainists have chanted for thousands of years to bring themselves into divine harmony is the sound that a neurosurgeon had in his experience on the other side of life. How thin is the veil between the worlds of the seen and the unseen? While Eben was in this beautiful earth-like realm, flying along in billowing clouds, he saw very high up, he says, immeasurably high, far above the clouds, these translucent, orb-like beams. And they arced through the sky, leaving a long, trailing stream behind them. And from them, he seemed to hear what was a loud, glorious chanting sound. It was to him the sound of pure joy. And as he's now back, he's present, he's woken up, it's 4 months later, he's finishing writing his recollections, and he's recalling this experience. And he's thinking about what they are. He thinks birds, angels. Those were the words that came to mind. But those words didn't do these beings justice because they were so much more, they were so